Hi, everybody. In today's video, we're going to talk about two new ISTQB certifications. So these are related to AI certifications. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. So there's been a lot of emphasis and a lot of recent focus on AI shipping products. However, from a testing perspective, it's very different in how testing is accomplished compared to traditional approaches. So these two new certifications are really going to help you understand how to test AI without really having to guess and figure out how to really go about it from that perspective. So traditional testing really wasn't built for AI. So the same way that you test traditional testing approaches and really methodologies, it's very different. So for example, AI is non-deterministic. So you may put in an input, however, you get a different output. And often the correct responses may vary depending on the information of the model, for example. So that kind of leads to the next part, which is data driven. So the quality lives within the training data. And if the training data is getting better over periods of time, then it's going to change the outputs, and the outputs are going to get updated and improve over time, which is certainly the purpose of AI. In addition to that, there's a lot of bias, there's a lot of hallucinations, there's toxicity that happens when the AI is giving you different outputs. That is another area of significant focus that you need to make sure that you understand from that perspective. Now, the two certifications are a more traditional, I would say, certification, and that's your CT-AI. So this one is a broader certification, and you are going to understand more about how AI works, the process around it, what impacts are related to data, models, and really the whole AI testing lifecycle. Now, if you want more of a specific certification related to generative AI, then you would take the GenAI certification. Now, this one is more focused on the LLMs, image modeling, and RAG pipelines and getting those outputs. So both of these, to keep in mind, require the base CTFL certification first, and then you can specialize in one of these or both of these certifications. So the first one is more of the landscape. So that's the overview of things. And then the other one goes kind of deep, right? So make sure that you're going to pick the right one. Now, having both of them is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you feel, for example, you're heavily testing more of the LLMs, chatbots, things of that nature, then you definitely want to get the GenAI one versus just the A certification. So make sure that you do your research and you pick the right one. And we're going to dive into some of those details here in a minute. So the CT-AI certification is basically testing all of AI and machine learning. So those activities that include training data, the quality of it, the bias detection, model performance metrics, so the precision and the recall, drift management once a model is in production, pre-trained models, fine-tuning and RAG, explainable AI and responsible AI ethics, lifecycle approach. So it starts with the data, the model, and then machine learning development. Now, a few facts about this test is it's a 40 question, multiple choice question. It is 60 minutes to take it. You need 65% pass. It does require the CTFL certification plus 6 months of experience, and it was released in April 2026, so really fairly recent. Now, for the GenAI, which is more testing the generative systems, so it also includes some testing of non-deterministic with unpredictable outputs, content quality, factuality, bias, style, and toxicity. It does also cover hallucinations versus harmless testing, adversarial and prompt testing, building a golden set of reference answers, wiring GenAI test into your CI/CD pipeline. It is also a 40-minute multiple choice question. You have 60 minutes to complete with a 65% pass rate. It requires the CTFL certifications and additional information and knowledge around APIs, JSON, CI/CD certainly will help. And good, just general hands-on AI exposure is helpful as well. And then Azure requires the foundation certification. Now, these are brand new. So these tests, these certifications didn't exist even just a few months ago. So it's important that you kind of get in the ground more now. And that's really the opportunity. So especially if you're looking at an AI related job, you may not have as much as the hands-on practical experience, but that certification will at least help you get in the door and at least have that conversation with the hiring manager. Now, as we've talked about before, the AI one just does the whole overall broad landscape. So the models, the pipeline, feature engagement, predictive systems, validating the training data across all of the AI. And then the GenAI is just basically the one slice, more in depth, LLMs, diffusion image models and RAGs, and their non-deterministic content. Now, if you're asking about which certifications you should get, here are some recommendations as it relates to that. So if you're testing machine learning models, data pipelines, and predictions, the AI certification is best for that. If you're testing chatbots, LLM apps, RAGs, image generation, then your GenAI certification would be best. If you're new to AI testing and you just want the broad foundation, then certainly take the AI one first. If you are working with generative AI every day, then the GenAI is going to be the better one. And if you want the best resume, then both of those would be helpful. Take your CTFL foundation if you haven't taken it, then take the AI one, and then take the GenAI. So that would be my recommendation as it relates to that. Now, just keep in mind, I've taken multiple certification test exams, and here's really how I approach it. So I certainly look at the syllabus and the glossary. So make sure especially that you understand the terms. The terms are critical. And also make sure that you pay attention to the wording in the actual question. I usually will read the question twice and make sure that I understand it. And especially some of the verbs, I may say, pick the best example. It may say different things around accept or never. So just make sure that you're looking at the specific glossary information and then the terms and the tenses, because those are really important. Now, I also recommend taking many sample exams. Find as many as you can get and make sure that not only are you passing those at, let's just say 70 or 75%, but make sure that you're able to understand the timing of it, right? Because timing is important. You want to make sure that you get through all the questions and that you have sufficient time to answer each question. So doing training around that and repetition really helps. I would say probably take 5 or 6 exams and make sure that you understand your timing And that really helps from that perspective. In addition to that, if you're taking one exam or the other, make sure that you have kind of done some hands-on activities as it relates to that. In addition to that, if you really want to go above and beyond, you can take some accredited training, and it really helps from a practice perspective. The more you practice, the better you're going to do. So just keep in mind, these are specialist certifications. So ideally, you want to pair the certification with real work, or at least practice that from that perspective. So the certification proves that you understand, you have the knowledge on how to test the AI, but actually combining that with doing that. For example, we've all dealt with hallucinations. And so if you kind of see and know how hallucinations work and really understand that, then, you're going to be the best person in position to perform a job. So get the cert first and then go do some testing on it. Now, as we all know, AI is here and it's here to stay. So none of that is changing. Now, what's important to make sure that you are getting ahead of your competition from that perspective. So both of these certifications prove that you have the knowledge it's needed in order to test AI. And we all know testing AI is very different than testing traditional testing approaches. It's just not the same. So if you haven't got your CTFL certification, definitely get that first. And then I recommend taking the AI certification to understand the broader overview, and then go specific if you want to do more of a deep dive into some of the models and chatbots and things like that, then go for the GenAI certification. Now, both of these are rare. They just came out. So you want to make sure that you're ahead of your competition and that you're gaining that knowledge in order to be successful as you prepare for AI-related roles. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit more background about the QA Revolution YouTube channel. So if you think this information has been helpful today, please subscribe to my channel. I do talk a lot about testing. And so here are some of the areas that I try to focus on. So I spent a lot of time in my career knowing about how to test things. So I cover the fundamentals, automation, real world approaches as it relates to QA and QA strategy. In addition to that, I obviously have videos around certifications. I'm going to continue to expand that in the weeks and days to come. I focus on interviews, getting hired, because I am a hiring manager. So I have a lot of practical knowledge and experience in terms of what I'm looking for. In addition to that, I am more focused now on AI, probably more than ever, just like everybody else. And so I do a lot of videos around Claude and AI and how is that really reshaping the QA job industry. And then in addition to that, I have tool breakdowns. It's honest, it's no hype. Everything is factual from that information. So I try to give the knowledge and experience that I've gained in producing these videos. So I hope that you've enjoyed this discussion today on AI certifications. Go out there and get these certifications. They're super valuable, and you won't be disappointed if you do. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.